broken stories. Is everyone good? Everyone happy?
Yes.
So I wrote 9 books. First of all, let's have a round of applause for Tasha for doing this live. Tasha, are you going to do more of these nights?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think there should be more. I love this night. It's brilliant. It's one of my favourites. I feel very comfortable. I mean, there's a carpet, there's a stool. We're all gathered round. It's like we're in someone's living room. It's nice. It's nice. I did this night before. It was a great audience. You're going to be a great audience as well. But yeah, we're here to talk about worst people. There's so many at the moment, isn't there? It's endless. The worst people. Oh my God. Where do we start? I could start with, you're a great audience. I could start with the audience at Slap and Giggle on Monday. There's one person laughing in the back, he knows. They were not laughing enough at my jokes about brutalist architecture. I don't know why. But yeah, so there's so many of the worst people, but maybe let's think about some of the quirkier, like, worst people, okay? There's a lot of obvious ones, isn't there? Maybe one of the quirky worst people that I would nominate would be the person that came up with the talking toilet on Virgin Trains, now Avanti. You know that toilet where it talks to you? Isn't that so annoying? I get heckled enough in comedy clubs. I do not want to get heckled by a toilet. It's so annoying. But look, I'm not a comedy dictator, unlike, well, last time I talked about the dictator of Kazakhstan. I'm not going to talk about him tonight. I'm a comedy Democrat, right? So I think we should nominate between us a couple of the worst people. So I'm going to open it to the floor. Does anyone, and let's not go, like, there's probably some obvious ones, but let's not go down any dark alleys tonight. Let's think of something quirky and something that would be suitable for a comedy club, so that when you say it, I don't have to stand here and be like, how am I going to respond to that? So has anyone got any suggestions for a worst person? Speak now. Would anyone like to suggest a worst person?
Oprah.
Oprah? Oh, that's not going down well with you. And why Oprah?
Because she's worth billions and she just went on TikTok and asked everyone for money.
Why did she do that?
Because of the natural disaster that happened in Hawaii.
Oh, and she's got some houses there, right?
She's got one of the biggest houses in all of Hawaii.
Right,
And then she's
okay.
worth billions. She's like, we'd like to raise $10 million. You're like, fuck off, bitch. You own everything.
Okay, excellent suggestion, Natasha. Anyone else? Let's have one more.
Matt Hancock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is the reason for that?
Matt Hancock.
Right, okay. We'll have one. Let's have one more. One of you guys. Anyone like to nominate?
Sorry.
Yeah.
People who eat with their mouth open on public transport, and
Okay.
particularly if it's smelly food like cheese crisps.
What, like, do you mean like cheese and onion?
Sorry?
Like cheese and onion?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually my favourite flavour, but they do smell very bad, don't they? They do smell very bad. Okay, let's have a final one. Did you want to
Mine
suggest?
was also public transport related,
Right.
but people that watch videos on their phones without headphones.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so annoying, isn't it? Why don't you just use your headphones? Exactly. Crazy. Good suggestion. Wait, what are you saying? You do it?
You do.
Like, out. Yeah, okay, they're good suggestions. Well, okay, there are some of the worst people, but what about when someone who you think is maybe going to be the worst person turns out not to be? Okay, so in the spirit of this night being about stories, I'm going to tell you a little story, and I think it's relevant because Big Brother has just started again, and this is a story about someone from Big Brother Series 1 called Nasty Nick. Does anyone remember?
Nasty Nick.
Do you remember? Right, you guys remember Nasty Nick? Okay, so this is a true story. I ended up on a press trip with Nasty Nick in 2009, and we got sent to Poland. And for anyone that's not been on a press trip, it's when a lot of journalists get sent somewhere and there's normally a lot of drinking and something's being promoted. So they were promoting Poland, and Nasty Nick was there on the trip. He was trying to reinvent himself as a travel journalist. and I was doing quite a lot of that kind of stuff around then. Nick took quite a shine to me, and when we got to Luton Airport, he was quite emotional, as you often can be at Luton Airport. He asked he asked for my phone number, and I gave it to him, and I thought nothing more of it. And if my girlfriend, she was my girlfriend at the time, isn't now obviously, but if she was here now, she would confirm that Nick called quite a few times, and I had quite a lot of conversations with Nick, and he was really, I guess, looking for someone to talk to. This story's sounding quite sad now, isn't it? Yeah. So it's like, Chris, it's a comedy night. But yeah, the point was he wasn't nasty. He was not nasty at all. He just wanted someone to talk to. And I think people have always said, yeah, exactly. People have always said, I think I'm sort of like a therapist in a way. People seem to feel comfortable telling me things. And Nick would tell me a lot of things. It was very strange though. He would call in the night, and my girlfriend was like, "Is that Nick?" I was like, and I saved it as Nasty Nick in my phone as well. Anyway, that's a true story. Now, I've seen that Nick has moved to Australia. He started a new life. He looks very happy. My only hope is that when he arrived in Australia, Australian customs double-checked his bag to see if he'd imported any illegal pens. That's a joke that I hope, thanks. That's a joke that I hope some of you who've seen the first series, yeah, excellent, we'll get. And thanks to Tasha as well. But yeah, maybe, I mean, there's all these other people who could be the worst people, but actually, maybe the worst person is me. Do you ever think that? Do you ever think maybe the worst person is me? It could be me, and I think maybe one of the reasons it would be me is that I have a kind of self-destruct button. Make some noise if you self-sabotage. Is anyone? Right. So all the comedians at the back were making a lot of noise when I asked that, and a little bit from here as well. Yeah. Some of us self-sabotage. I think the reason that I do it is commitment to the bit. Sometimes I think the laugh is worth it, even when it shouldn't be. And I don't know if anyone was here last time, but I alluded to the fact that in my past I had been fired from LBC Radio, and I hadn't thought about that for years until I mentioned it here a few weeks ago. Now, the weirdest thing in the world happened on Wednesday. My phone went off, unknown number. I answered it. I didn't know who to expect. Who was calling me? It was
Nasty Nick.
No, I wish it was Nasty Nick. It was LBC. They wanted me to go on the Andrew Marr show, and I wondered whether I should mention that I'd already been fired by them, and I thought I'll just leave it. I agreed to go on the show, and this was on Wednesday. But I thought, well, if I've been fired once, would it be so bad if I was fired twice? And this is the kind of stupid thought that sometimes goes through my mind. So I thought, well, I'll have a private joke with myself. I don't know if any of you guys do this, but sometimes it's quite funny when you think, okay, I'm going to do a joke that only I find funny. And this is how I've tried to be with my comedy career as well. I just stand on stage, saying things, as I did on Monday, and wonder why no one's fucking laughing. But that's just me. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do a private joke. And I thought, what will the private joke be? And I thought, yes, I know what it'll be. It'll be Cliff Richard. Cliff Richard, I don't know why he recurs in my stand-up set. He probably shouldn't any longer. I talk about this film that he was in the 70s. He was in this musical set in Birmingham called Take Me High, 1974, where he walks around Birmingham singing, walking through multi-story car parks and brutalist council estates, singing these songs. It's really weird. Kind of thought of as being one of the worst films ever made. And at the conclusion of that film, he drives a hovercraft along a canal under Spaghetti Junction. I have no idea why. So I thought, okay, I'll talk about Cliff Richard on the Andrew Marr Show. So we were talking about other stuff which was unrelated, and I was waiting for the opportunity to crowbar in this thing about Cliff Richard. And I went, oh, so yeah, Andrew, I don't know if you remember, but Cliff Richard, he asked me something which was unrelated. I was like, do you remember there was a time when Cliff Richard recorded a video to his 1984 pop song Wired for Sound in Milton Keynes Shopping Centre, where he was roller skating through the shopping centre? Andrew Marr paused for a second. I thought, oh, I've gone too far. And then he started laughing. It was all fine. He found it very funny. He was obviously thinking, why is he mentioning this? But he laughed. And then afterwards, the producer emailed me and said that she thought I'd done quite well. So I was surprised, but nevertheless, it was a very childish thing to do. So I think, well, you know, when we're thinking about these things, there are obviously lots of the worst person in the world, but maybe at the end of the day, the worst person is the person looking in the mirror. I've been Christopher Beanland. You've been a great audience as ever. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Christopher Beanland. Down like a sack of potatoes in the sea.